Hold on, let me get this link. If you don't know who MintSkull is on this channel at this point, like, we watch the videos almost every Tuesday. There's like one MintSkull video a week at the very least. Like I am a diet MintSkull channel. I am the DLC to MintSkull's channel at this point. Like at least one video. At least one video a week is a MintSkull react because you guys like MintSkull so much, which I do too. Like I watched MintSkull way before I made content, so that's kind of cool to like kind of like, you know, it's kind of neat, right? It's like somebody that I always watched, because I watched MintSkull back when they were more like, you know, like random facts about this character. They didn't do as much commentary content, which is kind of like weirdly more like my wheelhouse. You know, that's more what I did. And now we're kind of like switching. Like MintSkull's doing a lot more commentary content, and I'm doing more weird creative things that are kind of my own little like I'm doing match reviews now and stuff like that. It's weird. We're having a little swap, a little dance. But yeah. MintSkull videos. MintSkull's great, always has been. Subscribe, like their stuff. The links will be down in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. I just posted it in the chat if you're watching this live on Twitch. Great, wonderful, awesome creator, and we watch each other's stuff, and it's just a nice little thing that we do. So yeah, this one's about I guess the tinfoil hat theory that has been going around. If you're not aware, the tinfoil hat theory going around is that somehow behavior lost the predator license, and that's why this chapter is very, very lackluster. Because we have a hunting killer who their whole thing is about hunting people for sport, which is the Predator's gimmick. Has some stealth aspects like the Predator does. Has the exact same weapon, the exact same claw that the Predator wields in the movie. Has tracking devices, which the killer has in the movie. Has a jungle theme when it comes to like their theme song and their chase theme, and also like the thing in the background is you're seeing like their little hunter's nest. We're up to 6. We're up to 6. We can keep going. Honestly, there's more, but like, yeah, it's very Predator-esque. It's very Predator-esque. So it makes you wonder what happened. It makes you. I don't think, personally, before I watch this video, I don't think so. I think it's a fun theory. I think it's cool. But I don't think we lost the Predator license. I feel like maybe they just took very, very heavy inspiration for this chapter. Because obviously, no matter how you feel about it, whether you like it or hate it, it is kind of a lackluster killer. It's a lackluster chapter. Whether that be from their power, their strength, their animations. Like, it's a little below standard. But I think maybe they just took a lot of inspiration from Predator because they didn't have a whole lot of ideas for what to put out next. Or maybe thought that, you know, maybe the idea was strong first. Maybe they made a killer that was too close to the Predator and they had to kind of like mangle it a little bit to make it original to avoid issues. I don't know. That's kind of where my head's at, but you know, I'm open-minded. Maybe there's some evidence that we'll see here that changes my mind.
So, unless you've been living under a rock, you would know that Behavior released the PTB for the new chapter, and it's not looking good in the community.
Oh,
all because
that's bad,
of
yeah.
this. A new character that for the first time since the Trickster has received a lot of negative feedback for her power and visual design. It was so bad that someone in the community called her a predator from Wish. Everyone laughed. Until they stopped. What if she is actually Predator from Wish and not as a joke? The community.
What's your larger tinfoil hat theory?
A lot of similarities between them, and combined with the negative feeling that the community has, a new theory was born, and it is by far one of the wildest theories.
This is Witcher music. Does MintSkull like Witcher? Oh. I was like, wait a minute, my brain's unlocking. Does MintSkull like Witcher too? Witcher's like my favorite game series outside of Resident Evil. My favorite 3 game series are Resident Evil, Witcher, and Fallout. Are like my favorites. My homie.
All the times I've been playing DVD, a Predator license was cancelled, and the school merchant is just Behavior using ideas and assets. So, is this true? Or is this just baseless claims that became popular due to the negative bias that the community has towards the new character? Let's take a look at all the evidence, and I will give my personal opinion about all of it. However, before we begin this video, I would like to make a quick disclaimer. Everything you will see today, no matter how convincing, is purely rumors and speculation.
Okay, there's nothing concrete here. That's still fun. It's still fun to theorize.
And nothing should be taken.
I was like, do you have info?
Fact.
You have secret info?
Do not get your hopes up or down for the new anniversary chapter, and this video was purely made to entertain. First of all, let's discuss the evidence for this theory and see all the parallels that the new DLC has with the Predator license.
That axe for no reason.
And I believe the most obvious one
yeah,
is the weapon of
yeah,
for the new character.
Like I guess like a two-pronged blade is not specifically copyrighted by the Predator, right? Like that's not like the only character in media that's ever used this weapon, but he's the most popular. The most popular, right? Definitely the most popular IP to use that weapon. It'd be like having a new space opera release and they also use laser swords. You know, you'd be like, clearly this is Star Wars. Clearly this is Star Wars. And be like, no, it's Space Wars. It's different. It's like, no, it's Star Wars. Yeah.
An industrial double wrist blade. It would be completely
for a Treens rework? That'd be interesting.
Not admit that this weapon bears way too much similarity to the Predator's wrist blades. The placement of the hands, the fact that they are on top.
Yeah, yeah. The little like, why does she do that? Like, that's a good point. Like, why does she do the little? Why she got a little? Why she doing the little claw thing? Like that's a very much like a Predator stance. Like a
behavior. Has total liberty to make any type of weapon they wanted for the new character. They could have done a power drill, a saw blade, make her arm completely robotic, or have a melee weapon instead. And yet they went for this design in specific. Both characters also wear masks. However, with Predator, it serves a practical use, unlike the mask on the Skull Merchant, which looks out of place and only serves to make fan art harder to draw. Her name, Skull Merchant.
It's true. The little details are what gets you. The little details, like you draw the white mask and you're just like, now I gotta draw like 50 little circles. Thanks. Somebody used to draw, like, I felt that in my soul. Somebody used to make art, I feel that. That is pain.
Whether you agree or not about her visual design being bad, the name Skull Merchant is complete false advertisement that does not fit the character we got at all. At no point in her lore she sells skulls, besides using them for drones. The name comes from the protagonist on her father's manga, which she was obsessed with. On the other hand, the Predator, very well known as the character that keeps the skulls of their best prey as trophies.
Oh my god! Oh my god, you're right! I hadn't watched one of the movies in a while. That's right. That is a big thing that they do. He even uses a Scar in AVP uses the skull of an alien as like a shield. Like that's a big thing for them. Is taking the skulls of their enemies as like as a trophy or as like utility. Oh my god, you're right. I never even thought about that. Oh. Okay. Yep. That's a thing.
Trophies. Predator is more of a Skull Merchant than Adriana, even if he doesn't sell anything. Despite the Predator not being widely known as someone who uses drones, the Yautja have Falcon drones that they use as intelligence gathering devices. Basically what the Skull Merchant does in-game. And since we're talking about drones, have you noticed how weird it is that the Skull Merchant becomes undetectable inside the drone radius and it doesn't kick in instantly?
Yeah, the cloaking.
It almost feels like a very random status effect. However, if we imagine for 1 second about her power being able to disguise her to make her invisible, well, that is exactly one of the tools the Predator has in order to stalk their prey. In fact, this is what the Wraith's entire power is based on. Once a target has a claw trap on them, the icon on the HUD is—
oh my god, you're right! Oh, the lasers! Oh my god, you're right! Because if you don't know what she's about to say, like with the when you have the shoulder cannon from Predator, It's 3 lasers that are in that exact formation before it shoots. That's its laser sight. Is those 3 exact? Oh my god. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. Like, I was already like, this seems like rip-off Predator. Now, all the tiny things are coming together too. Oh no.
It's very similar to the iconic 3 laser lights that the Predator uses in order to shoot their shoulder cannon.
Yep.
And since we have talked about invisibility, most people know how bad and disappointing her Mori is. But then, when you think about it and imagine that the school merchant becomes invisible inside the radius of the drone, suddenly this Mori goes from a -5 to a 0, as it at the very least makes way more sense than whatever the devs cooked. In fact, this is a spoiler warning, but there is one scene in the Prey film where it's almost exactly like the Mori of Adriana, and this wouldn't be the first time the devs reference a movie scene in order to make one of their Moris. There is one detail I found very weird about the school merchant, and that is the weird pointy finger she has on her left hand. However, if we compare the hands of the Predator to hers, it could be another reference and coincidence done by the devs. And just from a superficial point of view, though.
Yeah, I don't think this convinces me that it's like a lost license, but these are the 2 paths. It is a lost license, or this is the biggest fucking ripoff that they have ever performed. This is the most like copy my homework and don't make it obvious fucking shit that I've ever seen in my goddamn life. I have never seen, if this is truly just a coincidence and it's not a lost license, this is the biggest copy my homework, just don't make it obvious, okay, thing that I've ever seen in my life. This is the biggest, this will always be my biggest example of copying homework that I have ever seen, and I was a teacher for 5 years. Like, oh my god. Oh my god.
Similarities that the 2 characters have that anyone familiar with the movies would make themselves without any conspiracy. This time, let's take a look at the similarities that are way more specific and way more obscure. Like, for example, how about the fact that Adriana has made her own base in the middle of the most desolate map in the entire game, Shelter Woods? In fact, it could have been the ship where they keep the schools. Imagine seeing that as a survivor. Or how about the fact that her animations seem to be unfinished, not like we have seen in any previous PTB since the Dredge. And the animation.
Yeah, it is. We're entertaining the theory that it's a lost license, right? Like, having to suddenly like cut out a bunch of animations would make sense. Like, why she just kicks everything and she doesn't have a starting animation, because if that's like a licensed material, you can't have it in the game. So they gotta like take that out, you know.
Feels floaty, like it was designed.
Like going from a Yajuta, like a big alien monster, to like you know, a slightly tall hunter lady. Like, obviously they're not gonna do alien things, or like, for example, like in this, like say like we're in the situation
as a survivor,
where like they're kicking the gen, right, or kicking a pallet. Like, there's probably Yajuta specific stuff that could have been happening here, like, you know, them clawing at it and you see like their animation, or they just like shoulder cannon through it or something like that. That would just obviously you can't do that with her, because she's a different character.
Any previous PTB since the Dredge, and the wall breaking animation feels floaty, like it was designed for something with a bigger model. Or the fact that some people go as far as to claim that her face model is just reused. And
I don't agree with that.
Trickster.
I think that's dumb.
However, this is easily debunked.
Yeah,
just by
easily
taking a
debunked.
look at the 2 side by side.
Yeah,
it's obvious
if you believe this, you're an idiot. I'm gonna say that. That's got me in trouble before. I've said that, but like, honestly, if you believe this, you're an idiot. You're stupid. like come on. Those are clearly not the same face. They have like a relatively similar jawline, and that's it. That's it. That's literally it. They have a relatively similar jawline. Like, this is stupid if you believe this. Dumb.
Not the same. Or how the perk Game a Food is the first ever perk in the game that keeps track of the best survivor in the match, which fits the theme of the Predator hunting only the people who he feels are a fair adversary. And isn't it suspicious how this is the first ever original DLC which includes 2 survivors, which would fit perfectly with the 2 Comanche brothers from the Prey movie, Naru and Tabi. who would also fit perfectly as licensed characters that talk Comanche between each other, just like the new survivors speak Portuguese. Or possibly the most blatant of all, how the devs themselves call the school merchant as the apex predator various times on their behind the scenes video.
It was important for us, for the survivors, to feel like they were constantly being hunted by an apex predator.
What can that technology do in the hands of people who are more aggressive, more predatory? Skull Merchant is this interesting parallel between absolute predatory.
So the Skull Merchant, before her days in the fog, she used to hunt only the best of the best. She wants the best trophies.
I love the parallels we're playing.
Yeah, that's just Predator's gimmick.
A cold, calculating apex predator.
What I'm really looking forward to is for killer players to feel like that apex predator.
Someone in a Discord somewhere, or even just in the offices of somebody napping. Is somebody napping at their desk back there? Look, is somebody napping at their desk? Wait. Somebody's asleep back there. Wait a minute. I just know. I'm sorry, that was very distracting. Somebody's asleep at their desk, like right where my mouse is. They're like passed out. Okay. Anyways, what I was gonna say before I noticed that, is that God, that's so distracting. What I was gonna say is like, I feel like somewhere in like a Discord or just in the offices of behavior, they're just like they're all like, we're this is totally just the Predator chapter, right? Like, yeah. Let's just make Predator and we'll make it not Predator. Just like how when they made Trapper, it was clearly like a Jason homage, or when they made Billy, it's clearly a Bubba homage, right? Like when they were making Billy, they're like, oh yeah. Have him do the thing that like the Texas Chainsaw thing, like have him do that, right? Like they, or it's just, I feel like that's probably what happened here is they went back to the drawing board like they did the original, like the first killers that were interested in the game were like, hey, let's just make a Predator off. That's like that is somewhere on some like corporate statement or something, or in a group chat that they have, or in meetings that they've had while they're making this game, where they are making this chapter. We're just like, yeah, so we're gonna make it as Predator as possible, but we don't have the license, so we're just gonna, that's the theme. So
that the character is meant to be.
Now, there are some more evidence for it, and I heavily recommend watching Polyester's video if you're still not convinced of how many coincidences these two characters have, and he covered this way better and more in depth than I did. My job today is to tell my personal opinion about this theory. Do I believe that this was a failed license for the Predator? My answer is no.
Yep, I agree.
I think this is a very interesting theory, but there are some very fatal flaws with it that I simply cannot ignore. You know me and my channel, I am the first person to talk about crazy theories. Heck, I was the one that fully believed the Stranger Things leaks. But this theory, while it is indeed very interesting, I feel like it has a major flaw that just doesn't make sense. So my first major problem with this theory is the fact that Behavior rushed the chapter itself, or that it was a cancelled Predator license. Basically, the main premise of this theory is that Behavior was working on a Predator chapter, so they created some assets and powers in order to showcase the license holders if they would like to collaborate.
Just me?
The license deal didn't go through, and instead of removing the assets completely from the game, they reused various concepts and gaming assets in order to make this entire chapter. So in other words, Renato and Talita were the two Comanche brothers from Prey, and possibly Behavior made a custom-made Predator that possibly was inexperienced or a bad blood one. However, is this an objectively rushed chapter in its entirety? When did they start working with the DLC, for example? Some months ago, if you were very active in the DVD community, you remember the code Celebrando Novas Chegadas. This code was to commemorate the new Brazilian DVD Twitter, officially. And DVD has a lot of Brazilian and Portuguese players in the game. In fact, one of the oldest exclusive cosmetics is a Brazilian ultra rare shirt for Claudette, which was a reward for going to Brazil Comic Con. So if anything, I feel like the chapter was already pretty advanced 3 months ago. Behavior already knew that they wanted to make a DLC related to Brazil. but we actually don't know the exact number of months it takes for Behavior to work on a DLC.
Yeah.
What we do know, however, is that the Knight, who came around December, was already leaked in May of 2021. So that means Behavior has plenty of time to work on a new DLC. In other words, this DLC could have taken various months to make, and we know Behavior works on various DLCs at once. I am not denying that Behavior has already talked with Disney in order to get either Alien or Predator in the game. However, calling this entire chapter as rushed is incorrect. The PTB itself is rushed, and I agree. I feel like the killer itself is not polished compared to the last 3 releases we have had. However, when we ignore the design flaws and animations, the PTB itself is in a very well state. There are almost no bugs, especially compared to other Wesker, whose entire power...
Wesker's still bugged to hell and back. Wesker's hitbox is still wonky and weird and doesn't look visually correct. We still have the bug where if you rush forward at vertically bound as Wesker and you hit somebody with endurance, they become a little fucking race car. That's been in the game since its release, and it's next fucking year. That came out last year, chat. That came out last year. That little race car bug is still in the fucking video game. And it came out last year. And it's not even the December chapter. It's the one before that. That's still in the game. We have had so many we've had chapters, mid-chapters, bug fixes. That is still in the game somehow. Stupid.
Before release, the survivors are well done, the maps are beautiful, and there's just so many things in the game that do not prove that this chapter was rushed. For example, the voices of the survivors are Portuguese, and they also have music included with them. This is the first time we have had 2 map reworks as well as another map overhaul at the same time. And we know that maps itself take a lot of time to be created. These things are evidence that the chapter as a whole is indeed not rushed, even if the killer itself feels lackluster and rushed. Another key evidence that anyone can see is the DLC trailer. DLC trailers begin to be worked on very early in the DLC's creation, once the character designs have been solidified and including the new powers as well, as they take a lot of time to make and they have to be released on a specific schedule on their marketing campaigns. So the finalized design of the school merchant, as well as the survivors, the map, and the power were already green-lighted very far back in the development process. In fact,
grab them from Windows? Yeah, he's supposed to slap
DLC
them.
Trailers that show some problems that possibly happened during development, with the first one being the Doctor. The trailer was made with the intention to have the Doctor be Chinese. However, he was later changed to be African American. But since the trailer itself already featured the Chinese Doctor, they couldn't change the visual design in time for the new release. And while this next example is completely rumors, it wouldn't be weird to claim that the Legion had a completely different power according to their trailer, and they did feel very rushed when they released live. However, with the school merchant, the trailer is perfect, well animated, shows various scenes, and it's beautiful. There was a lot of work involved into its creation, so it's basically impossible to rush this animation, create new assets, create a new power and skins, new survivors with voice actors, 3 new songs. There is just too much effort for this to be a rushed chapter made of scraps from a cancelled license. However, one thing that I do have to state, the lore is horrendous.
Yep.
Either it was made by some intern who was not paid, or they simply wanted a reason to sell fan service cosmetics to the same community.
I still think that looks better than the default.
Effortless different recolors of shirtless Vittorio. My second point as to why I think it's not likely that they lost the Predator license and decided to reuse the assets into making their own Predator from Wish.
Pixel Bush could write better lore than they could.
Despite how much
Easy.
the community
Literally hire
disliked
Pixel Bush.
the game
Straight up.
balance or the higher ups decisions about the game, one thing is
Like, unironically, do it.
absolutely sure.
I'm sure Pixel would do a
Behavior
great job.
is a business
Unironically.
first, and they will not make a decision that will make them lose money on the long run, as their main goal is to maximize the profit with the least amount of effort possible, and their licensing team is possibly one of the best there is. They are not unprofessionals or incompetent when it's topics like licensing characters, and I believe the biggest evidence for this is found on the Stranger Things license laws. If you were present during those times, you will remember a big movement and suggestion that the community pushed, where we wanted the Hawkins map to be reused as a new map, like a burned recording studio or Korean street
which would be cool,
or a secret laboratory for the Blight. However, the devs straight up denied this, and they said that they will never reuse the Hawkins map layout in Dead by Daylight. Now, as a player, you might think
Hawkins is still in the game. Do you know that? Hawkins is still in the game. You just have literally a 0% chance to get it. It is still technically in map rotation. Isn't that weird? It's technically not out of map rotation at all. It just has a 0 percentile. Just weird. Very, very weird.
But as a ruthless business that wants money first, this makes the most sense. What would happen if they do repurpose the map as an original and
that actually is kind of scary. That's actually kind of scary that I think about, because if the fact that that's the way they did it, that's actually kind of scary, because like you said, like of course they had to take away the Hawkins offerings, but what if like something bugs, right? Like what if something bugs and sends you to a map that they're not licensed to use? That's actually kind of scary. That might get them in legal trouble, actually. It's kind of scary. That's really risky, because all it takes is one wrong thing in the spaghetti code, and suddenly we're on a map we're not supposed to be on anymore. Oops.
They get the Stranger Things back. The answer is that they would have completely wasted already made assets into nothing. The point I am trying to make is that imagine that Behavior did indeed lose the Predator license for some reason, or they could not secure it. If this is the case, why would they create a Predator from Wish? The only things they would get is the disappointment of the community, because no matter how cool Behavior makes a Predator copy, the original will always beat it due to how iconic it is. Do you personally think that Behavior would make a very poor character that guarantees we will never get Predator in the game because they already used all the assets and ideas into this chapter? They would literally be closing their doors on future deals. And this is by far the worst business decision any company can make, especially one that became as strong as it is due to licensing new chapters. In fact, when you really think about it, all of this chapter could have very well been inspired on the Predator, but without any licensing problems in the back. So it's
even then, that's kind of bad though, right? Like I said with the homework example, it's like you really just said, let's just like let's just add this thing from Predator, 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 add this thing from Predator. Like you literally like hard copied this. Like the alternative is not much better. If it's not a lost license, you really did just kind of hard copy something with like almost zero originality and then change the backstory and the model of like what it actually is, which is kind of the alternative is still not better.
Coincidence. It's not like they had to use the wrist blades for their new design and they made one entirely from scratch with the Skull Merchant. The wrist blade was not reused assets. It was all Behavior made. The 3 lasers that appear on the UI is the easiest thing to change, as it's just a PNG animation. I bet any fan could change it in less than an hour. The lackluster design and Mori
You're also talking about Behavior.
Very well just be an L by the art team. After all, they are not gods, they are human. It's not like this is the first time they made a bad design, but that doesn't mean all of them are. Sometimes they win, and sometimes they simply lose. And most importantly, outside of the wrist blades, which are clearly inspired by the Predator, would you say her power is something Behavior would make for the Predator? I cannot talk for you, but whenever I think of the Predator, I think of invisibility, of heat vision, of the shoulder cannon and the lasers, the different
we already discussed. All aspects of the power have that. Like the whole thing, like of them getting exposed while under the drone could be the shoulder cannon. The thing about her getting partial visibility could be the cloaking device. The tracking in general could be the thermal imaging. Like
their arsenal of strength, speed, and endurance. not a glorified M1 killer that can put boring drones.
You say that, but like Nemesis literally fired rocket launchers in his game, and all he does is tentacle slap people, which he can't do in the games. Don't get me wrong, but like Nemesis in his game can do way more than he can do in the. There's no reason the Nemesis tyrant should be getting slapped in the face by Fong Mead with a pallet going "Urgh." Like you just like pick the thing up and smash her. like he could literally flick her and she would fucking break in half. Like I don't think that's a good logic.
Regions or invalidate loops with a stupid radar. Even Freddy Krueger, a character that the majority of the community admits is just bad, still feels like Freddy Krueger with the dream world, the laugh he makes, the YouTube guidelines liquid spewing everywhere. Heck, even Sadako is well made. She might be weak, but when you think of an Onryo that appears after 7 days of you watching a cursed tape, how would you make her power in the game? I think Behavior did a pretty good job with representing
so far.
her,
Pretty good job
even
so far.
if the result is weak in terms of gameplay. But I think if Behavior pitched the drone idea for the Predator, it would have been an insult to the license itself.
I'm going to show you something. This is going to seem really off topic, but I'm just going to just to prove my point. Just to prove my point of like why I don't believe this whole aspect of like this, not even not believe, but just kind of like don't agree with the idea of like, well, this doesn't really fully represent the abilities that the trapper, or not the trapper. This doesn't fully represent the abilities that the predator can do. So clearly that doesn't mean that this is something that that it's representative of the character. Look at Nemesis. Look at this. Look at Nemesis in the game he is from. You ready? Ready? Watch him. Boom! Flying out of the sky. Watch him. He's coming. Look at him. See how fast he is? He's speed walking. He should be a 120 killer. Ready? It gets worse. Oh, look, there's the tentacle. We got that in the game. Whoa! Look at him go! Look at him go! Look at how quick he is! Look at him! Look at him go! Oh, this person's really good at the dodge. Yeah, that guy moving at Mach speed. That's not really representative of the character. Just saying. Not really representative of Nemesis. Just saying. So even without the weapons, he's way stronger in his source material.
A lot. Every single one of them feels like they were done with extreme care to the original source, except Freddy Krueger. There is zero chance they would mess up one of the most beloved and iconic characters in movie history, and especially not now after they gained so much experience and improved their own skills drastically compared to the past. And so, that's all. Thank you for your amazing job, Behavior. I know you meant well with the latest DLC and don't deserve all the hate. Now, I will spend the rest of the video talking about the Twitter drama that happened recently, so you can go now. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.
What? Twitter drama?
Okay
what?
Guys, Makoti is gone. I actually have one very big and crazy theory left, and I need you to pick up your tinfoil hat because things are about to go wild.
Okay.
See, here's the thing. Normally, Behavior saves up a very big license for their anniversary for the hype and marketing that will happen during those months. It's true that we recently got the Dredge in the anniversary, but I feel like either Ringu or the Project W were supposed to be the anniversary chapter, but something got rescheduled, so they had to cancel their plans and decided to make one original for the anniversary. If a Predator license was cancelled, that implies that Behavior and Disney are not in good terms. However, what if I told you that it is very possible that they are, indeed, in good terms? Everyone watching here probably knows who McLean is.
Yep.
McLean was one of the original developers of Dead by Daylight and one of the most notorious devs for the community as well. 1 year ago, he left his job at Behavior in order to work on another project. He joined Survios. He's currently working on an alien game. And most of you will know Patrick, the former lead designer of Dead by Daylight, or how some people know him, the absolute Giga Chad that compared DBD with hockey. Well, he also started working on Survios, the same company that has the Aliens license, as well as making a new single-player experience. Both lead designers immediately leaving DBD
That doesn't mean
in
anything
order to
though,
work on
because
an Aliens
they are
game.
literally not with the
Curious,
company anymore.
right? But you know, that could just be a coincidence. However, one day, completely out of nowhere, a Reddit post on gaming leaks and rumors appeared, talking about future events in Alien Day, which is April 26th. This Reddit post was made by a throwaway account that got deleted quite fast, and this post contained a lot of spicy information. Aliens Dark Descent, Aliens Fireteam Elite Free DLC, Aliens VR gameplay trailer, a new Marvel comic of Alien, new merch and small teaser for the Alien TV series, but most importantly of all, Alien Dead by Daylight Chapter expected to release on May or June.
But these aren't
We will know
substantiated
if
at
these
all.
leaks are true before the anniversary even happens, as we would know if anything of the other reveals leak and turn out to be true. We will also know on April 26th if everything in this post was real or not. After all, this is just a leak on Reddit.
Yeah.
Anyone can do a post claiming to know the future. However, think about it. What DLC would impact the game and create so much hype to finally get the same hype that the Resident Evil got back in the 5th anniversary? Alien fits the bill perfectly. And when you think of the number of the anniversary, 7, don't you think the number 7 can be made into a very simple xenomorph, just like the 4 was used to be a pyramid
What?
of the Pyramid Head?
What the-
What
what?
if the tools of
What?
Torment
Huh?
DLC
You lost me
was
there.
made with the intention
Numbers.
to create a teaser for what's to come? Behavior loves to hide teasers in plain sight, and especially loves teasers that are as elaborated and cryptic as possible. Remember how back in the days, they said that the free spirit cosmetic for Kate Denson, which was part of the summer BBQ event, turned out to be a teaser for the spirit? What if the Tools of Torment coincidences with Predator were not only purely homages to the beloved character, but also a teaser that Alien is coming in the anniversary?
But they're
And if
separate. I
Alien
mean, I know
is
they have
indeed the
crossovers,
chapter
but they're
for the
separate.
anniversary, this would completely debunk Predator being cancelled, as it wouldn't make any sense to release both of them at
That's
the
a
same
huge
time.
stretch. Yeah, that's a
And
huge
even
stretch.
less sense if the Predator were to be a legendary skin for the school
I mean,
merchant,
I would take an
instead
Alien
of being
chapter. I love
saved as
Alien
a
so
future
much, but
DLC, or the second
I
licensed
wish,
DLC
but
on Gear 7. Now, take your tinfoil hat out. Remember, all of this is purely speculation and rumors. Don't get your hopes up and don't expect Alien for the anniversary, as this video was done purely to entertain. Most of us expected a robot or a school merchant in the game, and we ended up getting whatever this is. So keep your expectations low and you won't be disappointed. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.
I don't particularly actually believe at all that it's actually a Lost Predator chapter. I think it's fun to think about it and to kind of theorize about that, but realistically, no. Like realistically, that's not what happened. As fun as that theory is, like, it doesn't realistically hold any water. As fun as it would be if it did. But what this does mean, on the flip side of things, especially with like the beginning parts of this video where we're talking about all the references, this is literally I think lazy would be a harsh word, but it is a copy paste almost. Essentially, besides Adriana being the killer, this is the Predator, right? Like, besides the backstory of the character, it kind of is the Predator in every aspect. So your two routes here, like I said in the middle of the video, your two routes here are, yeah, it's a lost chapter and they, made an original chapter out of it, or it's not, and you just kind of like very, very shamelessly, to the best of your ability, ripped off a pre-existing character for all of your ideas for this character besides the manga billionaire thing, right? Besides her being a manga fan billionaire, like every other aspect of this character is directly taken from the Predator, and it's very uninspired. Like either you copied my homework to make it not look obvious, or you lost a license. Both of which are kind of like bleak, right? But like I said, it's not really outside of Behavior's wheelhouse to do this, because, you know, when they first started out and they didn't have any APs, like obviously Trapper's an homage to Jason, obviously Hillbilly was an homage to Bubba before Bubba was in the game. Like, it's not outside of their wheelhouse to do this. I just think it's strange that in 2023, when the game has had so much progress and they have had so much success with original chapters, like the Huntress, for example, one of the most popular characters in the game consistently. Blight, another, as much as I hate facing that character, very, very well designed, very, very good character, very sound lore, sound design, very cool power. Let's take a look. Let's actually take a look and like actually pat them on the back. Let's see what good original killer designs have they actually had. Huntress, Blight, really good. Let's see what else. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Knight, no. Wesker, no. Dredge is okay. Dredge is an okay design. I think aesthetically it's a banger design. Aesthetically, the character is very dynamic and very interesting looking. The lore is also kind of neat that he's just kind of like the sins and repressed memories and feelings of like a dead town. Very cool. Artist is a miss. Trickster, honestly a miss. Sorry. Twins is a miss. Blight, like I said, Blight from the top to bottom, very, very awesome, well-designed original killer. Amazing. Deathslinger, despite the fact that he introduced kind of like the anti-tunnel, like not introduced, but kind of like brought about the whole anti-chase kind of like archetype into the game. Well-designed killer now. Back when he could just ADS for free and kind of be a stealth killer, that was kind of lame. But like his lore is cool, his design's cool, his power is cool now that it's fair. Oni was amazing original character. Peak lore, amazing lore. Very, very cool, to the top to the bottom, to his design, to his lore, to his power. Everything about this character like slaps. Oni is a W from the top to the bottom in terms of an original idea. Even look at like Danny Johnson with Ghostface. This is technically an original character. It is wearing the mask of an IP, of a Halloween mask that they had to get an IP for, but the lore and the costume design that they did for this character is crazy. He has some of the best lore in the game, and it's completely original, and his design is really cool too with his original design. Like, behavior is totally with it. Plague's great. Plague's a character from the very, 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 very far past, with very, very deep and intricate lore and a very dynamic power. Like, the behavior can really, really come out swinging when it comes to their original characters. They really can. They really can come out swinging when it comes to their original characters. But that's why, like, Skull Merchant and, like... Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, dear. That's why it comes at such a disappointment when, like, Knight and Skull Merchant come out. Because, like, they have come out with so many, like, incredible character designs, so much good character lore, and really stuck the landing without needing an IP. When you have, like they don't need to go back and, like, copy an IP to, like, make a good character anymore. Like, when they were first starting out, yeah, like, we need our imposter Jason, right? We need our imposter Bubba from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, we need, since, you know, we're an original game, we gotta pay homage to those things, because we never hope to get those licenses. So we just need to, like, kind of, like, copy their homework, and kind of stand on their shoulders. Nope, you have, like I said, like Huntress, Hag, not you, Doctor, even though it's inspired by something, Clown not so much. Clown's kind of Spirit's pretty cool. Spirit has a cool backstory. Like, you don't need to steal from existing IPs anymore. Like, you have great, fantastic original characters that you keep making. Like, yeah, there's some misses here and there, like Twins, Trickster. artist, but like you guys can make great original characters. You have proven you can do it, that are iconic and interesting. So I don't think you need to go back and rip off Predator to make a good chapter. You know, you don't need to go back and rip off Predator to make a good chapter. You really don't. And I think it shows that, like, you're beyond that. And if these characters had come out in 2023, we'd be like, bro, just give me Jason. Bro, just give me Bubba. Like, we would look at these two and be like, dude, just actually give me the actual characters. What are you doing? And I think that's what we're feeling with Skull Merchant, is if, like, they tried to release Trapper in 2023 with, like, his really, like, his power that pays homage to remake Jason, his machete that's very much like Jason, his cosmetics that are very much like Jason, but he's not Jason, and his power sucks. So it's just not the IP I want, and his power is really bad. If you tried releasing Trapper in 2023, nobody would buy this DLC. Nobody would give a damn about this DLC. Nobody would buy this character, and he's at the front of the game. Nobody would buy this character if you tried to release this guy in 2023. They just wouldn't. They literally just wouldn't. And that's what they're trying to pull. They're trying to essentially release a Trapper archetype, so a really, really bad character that's almost entirely ripped off of a really good IP. Not a bad character in terms of lore, but like in terms of his power strength, like a very, very weak character that has mostly been inspired by a very strong and cool IP. Nobody would buy that in 2023. Nobody would. Everybody would be like, dude, what's going on? Why did you release that? So that's why people are reacting to Skull Merchant the way they are, because they're essentially trying to pull that. So we're hanging. Yeah, I think that I think they've raised their own bar, and I think that's like, I think that's a big thing, is like they raised their own bar. They raised their level of quality, and this is clearly below quality, whether it be through aesthetics, through them like outright kind of like ripping off an IP. Like, they've raised the bar on like, what their quality is. And I feel like we're just not stupid. And we see where it's like, hey, this is like a killer that would come out in like 2016, 2017. Why is this in our 2023 DVD? So, yeah, that's the last I'll say about it.